Uh-oh, I think we're back. Are we back? No. Don't tell me that. Uh, all right, are we back? Come on. Oh, man. All right, now I'm good. All right, good. Man, that stinks. Yeah, the apparently playing the music through the through my Wirecast uh caused all kinds of issues in my on my app. So sorry about that, guys. All right, so let's hit record now and get this party started. Jeez. Gotta love technology. Rolling with the punches, right? If you guys listened to that episode, that was one of my most recent episodes. Let's do this. Yeah, I know. I saw Facebook dropped. Yep. Rats. Oh, there you go. We're back. All right. Yeah, you gotta love. Hey, Periscope's up. Hey, it was actually a Wirecast issue. It wasn't Don't be a dick. Part two. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to another. Oop, it wasn't live. Welcome back to another episode of FOMO Fans. My name is Brian Fanzo, and all hell is breaking loose. I'm breaking my live stream before we go live here on this podcast. My Facebook live broadcast just kind of came down. Periscope was getting a little glitchy, which really sucks because I have a brand new sponsor on the show, and I was excited to give away my sponsor's gear. I have a iographer case for your iPod that attaches to a tripod, and you can attach your gear on top of it. Big fan of Dave and the team over at iographer. They sent me a lot of gear to give out to you guys, my community. So I was excited to give out to the live audience as well as the podcast listening audience. And then of course that's when it's just kind of like Murphy's Law, right? Whenever you're trying to get creative and do things on a different way, that's when the things come back or the things fall apart. So thank you guys for tuning in live. And this is episode 31. And if you listen to episode 30, I actually recorded episode 30 earlier today. This is Monday. And episode 30, I focused on collaboration. But I also read to you guys a review that I got from someone on iTunes this morning. And they were saying like how much they enjoyed the podcast, and I already read that to you guys in episode 30. But something they said was like, Brian, we really love the rants, and we wish that you would kind of rant more on your podcast. And for me, ranting is something that I love to do because I'm a very opinionated person. But ranting all of a sudden became like this, like, I don't know, in the live streaming community, it became this like excuse to be a dick. And it became this excuse to really just mouth off about anything and everything. And I don't know, it kind of came to this point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop ranting and stop preaching, and I'm going to start teaching, right? Stop ranting, stop preaching, start teaching. But I also believe, ranting for me is less about telling people they're wrong, more about sharing my opinion about a topic, about a industry, about maybe something that's going on. And I think sometimes, ranting for me is, it's kind of like my fuel. I'm a passionate guy. I tell this story all the time. My high school guidance counselor told me I could be passionate about the phone book. I started doing live streaming on Meerkat, and I was lucky enough when they hit 2 million users on Meerkat. I was in the top 5 users of total views of live stream videos. And really what I did on Meerkat was I ranted. And here's the thing, and I see some of my live audience talking about it now. I don't rant about negativity. I rant about positively. See, I can't even say it. I'm trying to aspire to inspire, right? I aspire to inspire others to change habits or to do things differently or maybe look at things differently. And so this is a rant. This is a podcast episode. And the title that I kind of threw out there right now, and this is what the title is for the live audience. Who knows what the title will be for once this podcast goes live. It says, in a transparent, authentic world, don't be a dick. And what I mean by that and why I'm so fired up about this topic is that, I believe transparency is an amazing thing. And I think authenticity, where people start to, show, give people a real view into who they are, is something that's going to allow this world to be a better place. Because remember, transparency does not guarantee trust. Transparency does not mean that you are a good person. Transparency gives an authentic window into who you are, what you're about, and how you make things happen. And you know what? If you transparently expose that you are a jerk, you transparently expose that you're a dick, if you transparently transparently, authentically give people a view into you being racist, you being homophobic, you being sexist, you know what? I believe the more transparent we are, the easier it's going to be for us to weed out the crap. And the easier it's going to be for us to really amplify the good people in the world, right? And I think here's the weird part, and I preach this all the time. The true power of standing out online is being yourself. Now, here's the caveat to that, and I hope everybody that's listening to this, and take no offense, but if you suck, if you are a shitty person, if you're a dick to people, if you have to break down someone else to make yourself feel better, if you have to shame other people, if you have to steal other people's ideas because you have no original ideas of yourself, do us all a favor and don't be yourself online. Pick somebody else. Be somebody different. But for everybody else that is out there in the world that is doing good things, that cares about people, that wants to make this world a better place, I believe in the power of transparency. I believe that authenticity will shine through and we will be able to amplify the good in the world, and we'll be able to make a difference because we're going to focus more on the good news. When you turn on the news on TV right now, it makes my skin crawl. I hate the world that we live in if I only watch the 5 o'clock news or was it on 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock? I'm a millennial. I barely watch regular TV. I mean, give me a break. I mean, the traditional news that's out there today, to me, always focuses on the bad and the crappy things that are happening on in life. And part of the reason I love live streaming, part of the reason I love podcasting, part of the reason I love the digital world, and I say this all the time, I believe my kids are growing up. My 3 daughters, 7 years old, almost 6 years old, and my 3-year-old are growing up in the greatest times in the world, because I believe they're going to be able to connect with people without being, siloed or interrupted because of where they live or where they grew up or what color their skin is or who they fall in love with, because we're able to now be exposed to the world. But here's the problem, and here's where I wanted to take this, right? And I wanted to focus on this, and it is kind of like the Samsung United, aspect, and even it kind of covers the most recent Delta news, and everybody knows I'm a big Delta airline fan. Here's the thing. No technology, no digital, thing that's going out there, no live streaming, no social media network invented stupid can fix stupid or can stop hate or prevent people from doing things they shouldn't do, right? The world is full of people that do stupid things and crappy things, and they drink and drive, and they do things that just don't make sense, and they hurt other people, and that's the world we live in. And unfortunately, some of this technology will give us an easier access to those people and what's going on, but I believe that if you are genuinely a good person, if you are genuinely trying to help others, that this exposure, this transparency into our culture, into our world, ultimately will make this world a better place, right? And I think this is where I start to get frustrated, because you know what? When the United Airlines thing happened, and that United handled that horribly, and their press release afterwards was horrible, and they dragged somebody off of the airplane while it was being videotaped, horrible, right? But let's fast forward, because we live in the copycat world, right? Like all of a sudden, why would you work for things? Why would you want to, expose only the bad things? We had someone on a Delta Airlines, try to start, in my opinion, a controversy while they let their wife hold their camera and videotape something going down, right? And they almost made a scene out of nothing because they saw how much attention the United Airlines thing was getting. And this copycat world, this idea that if you can't make it in the world, just sue somebody, or pour hot coffee on your lap and sue McDonald's because you didn't know the coffee was hot, or the reason that we have, if you look at your blow dryer or your hair dryer, and I have a bald head, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you look at your hair dryer, it says "do not use in the shower." Well, the reason it says do not use in the shower is because some idiot took advantage of the concept that said, hey, this thing that makes my hair dry does not say that because it's plugged into electricity, it shouldn't be used in water. So some idiot sued the hair drying companies and said, I got injured, I got electrocuted because I used your product in the shower and I didn't know better, right? And that to me is the epitome of this idea where transparency and authenticity are going to expose people's vulnerabilities. They're going to allow us to understand people at a deeper level, but that does not give us permission to take advantage of that and try to expose things and really, look for a shortcut to success or your 5 minutes of fame or a free airline ticket, right? And I think this is someone on the live stream said it's a shame that person didn't take a bath with the hair dryer, but yes, all coffee lids have warnings on them now. All hair dryers, say don't use underwater. All of these things that this isn't brand new news, but I look at this new world that we're living in, and as transparency grows, we're gonna start to realize, and I think that's where we're living in right now, in what I would like to say a Donald Trump world, that there are some bad people in this world. There are people that do things that in a way that we don't like. But here's the piece. Do we focus on that transparency and those people doing bad things, or do we take a different approach and we highlight the good people doing good things? And why don't we restart the conversations and saying things like, we're able to send people off to war where you can't drink until you're 21, and yet only in a few states in the United States you can smoke marijuana, right? Let's look at this entire big picture and say, let's get our priorities straight, and let's also start supporting and understanding what people are and who they are about. Because you know what? We all make mistakes. We are all not perfect. We all have bad days. We all screw up every once in a while. I don't know if you guys saw the story, but it actually made it onto a Netflix series where this girl was live streaming in Columbus, Ohio, and she happened to live stream a sexual attack on her friend. And this girl is 19 years old, and the story follows her around. And here's the thing. I'm a big fan of second chances. I'm a big fan of believing that everybody can screw up, and that, I'm not saying that you can go out there and murder somebody and you shouldn't be punished, but I'm a big believer in that as transparency increases, we're going to start to realize that our glass house that we live in isn't much different than everyone else's house, right? And for me, and I love it, people that are watching right now are saying they're fired up, because you know why I'm fired up? Because here's a use case. I decided to give out free access to my online course to a bunch of my friends that are in this space that I consider my peers. And I told them I would love their feedback, and I would love for them to take a look at my course and understand what's going on and give me feedback. And I thought all these things were great. Well, believe it or not, and one of the things that really got me fired up was I transparently told everybody, hey, this is a course that I have people paying $500 for a seat, but I want to give you access to it for free because I believe in you and I trust in what you're doing. Well, little did I realize that someone in my area, someone that was a peer of mine, decided to hijack all of my training and download all of my videos and present it as a add-on bonus for their subscription course. And for me, this is something that said, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. You know what? You took advantage of my transparency. You took advantage of my trust in you. And the crazy part is, I'm not going to say that person's name. I sent them a message and told them I thought that it was a messed up thing to do, and they had lost me as a friend, as an advocate. But here's the thing. You know what they told me? Brian, you're transparent and authentic. You give away content for free. You do this already. What's the big deal? The big deal is you're a dick. You're a dick for not even asking me and not respecting that just because I'm transparent, just because I'm one that believes in sharing and collaborating. And the crazy part is, if he had asked me to use my course in his free subscription course, guess what I would have said? Yes. I would have said yes, because you know what? His target demographic, he's a very niche person and he has a very focused demographic. They're not my ideal customer. They're not someone that more than likely would have taken my course. But crazy enough, they didn't even ask. And then the counterpoint to that was, well, Brian, you're transparent with all the things that's going on, so I don't know what the big deal is, right? And I guess this is where I look at this idea which says, just because we have more access to people, just because we're able to understand people at a deeper level because of Snapchat and live streaming and the world that we live in, does not give us an excuse to not treat people like humans. It actually requires us to treat people more like humans, right? Because as we start to realize that our glass houses all look alike and that we are all very vulnerable, and you know what? I don't care who you are listening to this show. I don't care what position you are in life. You could be unemployed. You could be homeless listening to this on a loudspeaker outside of some store that's playing my podcast. I don't care who you are. I believe that we all make mistakes. I believe that we all have things in our lives that we wish we could do differently. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand the power of empathy, and you're not able to really embrace this transparent world, because transparency and this transparent, authentic world that we're going to live in, I believe is powerful. I believe we're going to be able to do things that were never thought about. We're going to be able to allow people to experience things in places that we would have never dreamed of, right? And someone just said, for everybody there who takes advantage of transparency, freedom, and authenticity can go live in North Korea. Well, for me, what I really was fired up about that, and the reason that I wanted to really put this out there, is that as we become more transparent, as we share our wins and our losses, and I work with people every day. I always tell people, you should have an I don't know page on your webpage. Your webpage should say, I don't know these things. These are things that I am not good at, because you know what? Everybody's preaching what the hell they're good at, and yet very few people are living that authentic life and understanding that we aren't perfect. We don't know everything. And guess what? Anyone that's listening to this right now, write down, I don't care if you're driving, because if you're driving, you're not going to have this answer anyhow. Who is perfect in your life? Do you know anybody that's perfect? Do you know any brand that's perfect? Do you know any industry that's perfect? And the answer is hell no. So when we realize that the perfection is a fairy tale, and we realize that nobody is perfect, this is when we start having to embrace empathy. And we have to start being able to put ourselves in other people's shoes. And although we put ourselves in someone else's shoes, and because they're transparent and we're able to walk in people's shoes at a different level today, it doesn't give you permission. It doesn't make it okay for you to violate people or do things to people that you would have never done before. And I guess this is my approach, and I love what I do. I love helping brands tell their stories. But I also know and realize that the way that I do what I do, I give a lot of people a lot of content and a lot of information to steal business from me or take business that would have been, we would be competitive for. And I'm okay with that. And I'm not in a place today that I am making enough money to where that doesn't hurt my financial situation and doesn't make me have to work more hours. But I believe that the great people in this world that are doing great things are getting hired because of who they are, way more so than what they do. And just because you're great at email marketing, or you're great at, let's say you're a great analyst, or you're a great podcaster, that doesn't mean just because you're great at it in your own mind or great at it in other people's mind that it's going to be relatable to everyone and people are going to want to sponsor it, because it does come down to that, like who people are. And I love a transparent, authentic world, but here's the piece of this, and I want everybody to understand that transparency and oversharing are not the same things, right? They are not the same things. Transparency is giving people a window into what you have going on. Oversharing is not even having a window, it's running around butt naked. And nobody needs to see anybody butt naked. We don't need to know when you use the bathroom. We don't care about every meal you've eaten. That's not transparency. Transparency is allowing people to see that some days are good, Some days are bad. You might preach that you're a morning person, or you might write a book about the 4-day work week, but yet maybe that you've started to realize that you have to work on the 5th day because what you talked about at the 4th day wasn't working. And I think this is something, and I love that you guys are talking about this on the live stream as well, is here's the thing, and not only is no one perfect, but we also have to realize, and we have to be okay with the fact that, you know what? Life happens, change happens, and shit happens. And you don't ever really know what's going on in someone's life, no matter how transparent they are, no matter how open they are. And I believe this community that we live in and this world that we live in, that I want to work with great people and great brands, and I want to help great people do great things. And the more transparent people are, the more vulnerable they become. But the more vulnerable they become, the more we get to know them. And if we can stop being a dick, and we can stop stealing people's ideas, and stop taking advantage of what people share transparently, guess what? We're going to start to make a world that's a better place, because I have 3 daughters. I have 3 young daughters, and I love the idea that they're going to live in this world that is going to be transparent, and they're going to be able to choose who they love, and they're not going to have to live in a world that, you know, is siloing them or preventing them from chasing their own dreams. And I really do believe in this, but it's also frustrating as hell when I see people take advantage of other people's transparency, or, hey, this person's being authentic and it worked out really well for them, so I'm gonna fake it till I make it. I'm gonna be authentic. All of a sudden, I'm gonna, you know, this is one of the things that I saw, and I was really offended by it. It was like someone was actually staging bad things for them to happen on live stream so that they could say, hey, see, live streaming, you know, we just kind of roll with it. And it was a brand that said they were gonna strategically make things fall apart so that it looked more authentic. And to me, that makes my skin crawl. And I guess that's the reason of this rant. That's the reason I wanted to jump on here and share my thoughts, because you know what? I love and believe in the power of transparency. I love and believe in having an authentic connection with people to truly do some amazing things. But at the same time, this world is full of crappy people that are going to take advantage of other people, and they're gonna look for the shortcut, and they're gonna sue people because the coffee didn't say it was hot, or the hair dryer didn't say you couldn't use it in the bathtub. But here's my message to you, and this is what I want everybody to kind of take this away from. Guess what? Those people are short-term wins. And even if it works one time and somebody steals somebody's course, or somebody takes advantage of somebody transparently sharing something, you know what? That'll win one time. Maybe that'll win a second time. But I guarantee it, they will get exposed. It'll come back around to them, because faking till you make it and stealing other people's ideas and not really embracing the community aspect will no longer work in 2017 and beyond. And I tell you what, I will make sure of that, because to me, this is what it comes down to. It comes down to, how do we amplify the good people in the world? How do we promote those that are doing it right? You know, for every United Airlines that drags a passenger off the plane, why are we not going to every airline that doesn't drag a passenger off the plane and say thank you for doing great things? Or go to Southwest Airlines, or go to Delta. You know, let's change this conversation, because it drives me to a whole level of discontent, because rather than us looking at that, sometimes I'll have people come to me and say, Brian, live video, you know, it shows a lot of people, you know, that like to get naked online, and it has, you know, a lot of people that are cussing, and it has a lot of people that, you know, and I like to stop them right there and say, guess what? That's the world we live in. And last time I checked, you get to select who you follow on social media. You get to decide who you watch on live stream. You get to decide whose email you subscribe to. And guess what? It's up to you. If you don't like someone the way they're doing something online, rather than bashing them, why don't you go find something that you do like and amplify that, right? And I think that, to me, is this epitome of, let's stop looking at the negative and concentrating on the negative. Let's let that negative resonate with us. Let's learn from the negative, and let's go find a positive and celebrate the living hell out of that positive and make this a better place by doing that. And I think that's where transparency and authenticity fall in. But ultimately, it does not mean that people will not take advantage of you, that people will not do bad things. And it's happened to me. It's going to happen to everybody. But I firmly believe it's not going to stop me from being transparent. it's actually going to get me to scream louder and inspire more people, because the more people that respect transparency, the more people that treat humans like humans, and the more people that celebrate the great people that are going out there, you know what? They're going to be successful in business. They're going to do great things in their life. And that's the world that I want to live in. That's the world I want to raise my daughters in. That's the world that I am so excited about getting up to every single day. But that doesn't mean there aren't down days, and some days are a little bit more difficult than others. So that's my rant for this episode. A little bit of what I used to do on Meerkat back in the day, which was a live streaming app. I just like to share my thoughts. You might disagree with me. You might believe that, a different take, and I welcome that. Share that in the comments. Tweet at me at iSocialFans. Get on my Facebook Live. Give me your thoughts, because here's the thing. If you are open to having a debate, which means open to understanding my side as well as educating me on your side, I will debate anybody anytime. But if you are closed-minded and just like to bash others, that's what the unfollow and block button was invented for. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to my sponsor, Iographer. And I'm going to give away one of these Iographer cases right now on the live stream. And then I'm going to give away one to someone that shared out there. So I'm gonna do that. We're going to give away a nice case to everybody that's out there. Those that are listening to this on the podcast, so in your ear holes, I'm going to do a little mini wrap up of this episode right after this part. And on that mini wrap up, I'm going to give you guys a chance to win not only an Iographer case, but a good book from my good friend Amy Schmittauer, which is called Vlog Like a Boss. I believe the power of video. The stat that I tell everybody is 81% of internet traffic will be video by 2020. And my friend Amy wrote a really good book called Vlog Like a Boss. I have a couple great copies of it here in my living room, and I decided I wanted to give those away to you as well. So thank you guys for tuning in to episode number 31. A little bit different tone. I've hit 31 episodes. We should be hitting right around the 100,000 download mark any day now, and I am truly blessed to have great listeners, a great community, and those of you that love the rants, they haven't gone away. They're just a little bit separated more than what they have in the past. Thanks, guys, for listening. Till next time, make it a great day. All right. Thanks, Throwboy. Thanks, everybody, for jumping in. Thank you for sharing the broadcast. All right, let me pull open my hold on. Let me pull open my thing, and I'm going to pick a winner from the sharing of the broadcast. Let's see. And so Chef Lizette was who won the first case this morning. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that, Matt. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, everybody. Look at that. I love everybody on the on Facebook Live as well. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Karina. Thank you, Mel. Sean Thomas, what's up, my friend? Thanks for jumping in. Tim Crawford jumped in. Samantha Collier jumped in. Thank you guys so much for watching this and kind of encouraging me. I love live streaming my podcast, because your comments and your little things throughout my podcast really get me excited to share it out there and help people kind of hopefully get more stuff out of the podcast. And so here we go. All right. Okay, and the winner of the case from sharing out the broadcast, and it's actually sharing out the broadcast from Periscope to Twitter, is Ginger Swanson. So Ginger Swanson, if you are listening right now on either Periscope or Facebook Live, you have won. I will send you a Twitter DM. You send me your address, and I'm going to send you an Iographer case for your iPhone to do video, as well as a Vlog Like a Boss from my good friend Amy. And then I'm going to pick a random comment number. Hold on, let's see. Ginger won that one, and okay, here we go. And Mel May. So Mel May is the other one that won. So Mel, you won for your comment number. So comment number 46 of the comments that went through on was from you. So Mel, I will send you out a Iographer case as well as a book from Amy Schmittauer. So 2 winners, Ginger and Mel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for supporting my podcast. The episode I recorded earlier today is actually live in iTunes and in in auto radio and all your podcasting apps right now. So if you want to go listen to episode 30 in audio, you can do that. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for engaging me. And thank you for coming along on the ride. Episode 31, a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a different approach to my podcast. Thank you guys. I mean, the live streaming community is what inspires me all the time to keep on doing what I'm doing. And truly, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for you guys. So make it a great day. Thanks for tuning in to FOMO Fans. Every Monday, usually at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I do this podcast. So if you want to make sure you turn on notifications for Periscope and my Facebook account. I don't go live more than 2 times a week usually. So don't have to worry about being flooded with notifications. And hopefully you guys will turn on the notifications, jump in and listen to some of the future episodes. To my iOgrapher sponsor, thank you, Dave and the team for sponsoring me and creating great equipment. And most of all, Dave, you're a great human, and that means a lot to me. Yes, now, 1 p.m. Pacific on Mondays. You get FOMO for Brian. That's the way I like to hear it. Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much. Make it a great day or evening. Go get a beer. That's what I'm going to go do.